Yeah, yeah, yeah. Show me some. Show me some. Show me
Good
some.
day, Madam.
Show me some.
You can't always get what you want.
I don't know if I can do it with you. I don't know if I can.
You can't always get what you want.
Oh boy, yeah. I think we need
And I
to.
try sometimes.
I don't know. I don't know.
Don't suck at singing.
Don't suck at singing.
Woo!
Oh boy.
I'm reminding you we are live right now.
I know we are definitely. live. And
we were
you
trying to
are-
come up with a name for this one, and it was just like, you can't always get what you want.
Yeah, it's like, because it's this one is like, how many times, and I come across this often, right? Is that like, well, so I was sitting with the family and they really wanted the $500,000 worth of coverage, but like this lady, she had cancer 4 years ago, she had this, she had that. And it was like, the only thing I was able to offer up was like kind of the equity protection, kind of final expense offering. And so it's like, I was stuck. And then, it's like what they want versus what you can actually get them. And then Miranda was like, how about you can't always get what you want? Like, all right, fair enough. And then we kick it off with a little bit of her serenading us. And yeah.
I normally only exclusively do Vanilla Ice singing, but that you guys got like, that was the first time I ever did that. So
That's so true. That's so true. I've heard it. And we're still rocking the pink glasses, huh?
these are different ones. This is called Neon Pink. The other ones
Oh.
were a different one.
I can dig it.
Okay,
I can dig it.
you'll learn.
All right. Podcast 68, I guess I will learn. I'll learn the different colors of your fuchsia or pink or whatever they are. But yeah, buddy, I'm excited about this one. Just because I think it'll actually be really helpful for people too. And so let's kind of dive into that. What do you think?
Let's go.
All right. So how many of you, and we'd like to even hear in like kind of our comment section, how many of you have come across just that, where you're offering, where you're walking into the presentation and they throw you a curveball with some sort of health issue, and then they're so dead set on them wanting the 200, 250, 3, 4, $500,000, and all you're able to offer them is critical period equity protection, a final expense policy up to $40,000 or $50,000 when you're doing simplified issued, and that's really all you're able to get them. So if you are that person, all we want you to do in our comment section is say I. How about that, Mer? Just say I. That's all we want you to do. Do it right now. And so how do we approach that? What's kind of the best way to kind of move forward and proceed? And I'll share this. Some of the ways that I've kind of found through doing it is really just kind of just prepping them mentally for it. And so maybe we can do a little role play. What do you think, Miranda?
Go.
All right. So we're kind of going through the process, and I like we've said in kind of previous podcasts, right? Is that if we know, or we have this inclination that we're going to be offering up kind of that critical period equity protection. Remember how we talked about the first three?
Mm-hmm.
The first three is like, we either offer up full mortgage, partial mortgage, or critical period equity protection. I'm going to kind of stay away from that full mortgage or that full payoff. I'm going to kind of stay away from the language where it's the full amount of what they want. And then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of pivot, and I'm going to say, all right, so Miranda, I know kind of the coverage that you were looking at. You said it was somewhere in the neighborhood of about $300,000, and that was just to kind of take care and wipe out the entire mortgage. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so due to just some of the health stuff that you kind of have going on, I have a plan. I have a plan of attack, and I want to kind of talk and kind of walk you through with what my plan is, and then kind of see if you like this plan. Okay. All right. So $300,000 in coverage is ideally what we're looking for. And that's ultimately what I want to get you. But I want to stay down this path in which we call simplified issue, or I want to stay away from blood work. Here's why, Miranda. This blood work policy, I'll tell you what, I sat with a guy. He was 36 years old. He was physically fit. This dude was a gym rat. That's what he did for a living. He was a personal trainer, right?
Right.
And that was his jam. And so he loved it. And he thrived off of kind of working out in the fit. And anyway, and so obviously the difference between blood work and non-blood work pricing, it can be drastically different. And so I had presented the price to him that was a non-blood work pricing. And that's roughly what he was looking for. It was about $250,000. And so I shared the number with him, and he's like, "Oh, that's not what I was expecting." He goes, "I saw an ad on TV saying that a guy my age could get $250,000 in coverage for about half that price." And I said, 100%, that's absolutely correct. But that's heading down the blood work path. And he said, "Okay, well, let's do that." And he goes, "I just went to the doctor 6 months ago." He's like, all my vitals came back perfectly. He's like, I don't mind doing that again. And I tried to talk him out of it. I'm like, "Listen, man, you don't want to do that, because if there's anything that pops up on your kind of your medical record, anything that pops up in your blood work, it's going to go across your MIB report, your Medical Information Bureau report, and then every single carrier under the sun is going to be able to see that." And he's like, "I don't care." I'm like, "Listen, let's just start with the non-blood work, and then we'll come back out and do the blood work." He's like, "I don't want to do that." He's like, "If you don't do it for me, somebody else is going to do it. That I can promise you." I said, "Okay, fine." So I wrote up the application. Miranda, 6 weeks later, we came back. His vitals came back. His blood work had, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was traces of TB. Now, the tuberculosis, it wasn't an active agent in his body, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't active, so he was fine. And there wasn't anything of concern with the doctor. But how do you think the carriers looked at that? Carriers looked at it like, "Oh, he's got tuberculosis." And so his premium went from if like $42 a month all the way up to $315 a month. And he's like, "All right, well, let's just go back and do that simplified version that you talked about." Miranda, guess what? I couldn't do it. It was too late. And so I want to stress the same thing to you that I stressed to him. I know what we're looking at, but you had just told me that recently you had just kind of been cleared and free over the last couple of years of cancer. You told me that, about some of your other medical conditions. And so what I want to do is I want to do the same thing for you that I was going to do to him. And I want to start safe. So, but here's what I want to do. I'm going to offer up something to you, Miranda, that's simplified, that I believe that we can get you approved for. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn that in. We're going to get you approved for it. And then after, we can come back out and go after that $300,000 policy. And then however they come back, if they decline it, who cares, because we have this policy put in place. But if they approve it, then we're going to get rid of this policy, the safe policy. Does that make sense? Are you kind of tracking with me, or did I kind of lose you in this whole big story?
No, I'm tracking with you.
Okay, perfect. So what I know, you want the $300,000, and I want that for you too, but I'm going to start safety. I'm going to start with safety first. And something is better than nothing. That I learned a long time ago. So what I want to do is I want to go after something called equity protection. And what this is going to do is it is a policy that's specifically designed that if God forbid something happens to you, it's going to make your mortgage payments for the next 18 months. And that will give your family enough time to kind of prep the home for sale. They're going to be able to sell it. They're going to be able to take the equity. They're going to be able to protect the equity. They're going to be able to take that equity and then either buy a much smaller home or use that as a big down payment on a much smaller home. So we're still obtaining that goal of keeping a roof over their head. Okay. And then if I get you approved for this, Miranda, perfect. We got that in place. And Miranda, no one can take that policy away from you except for you. All right. And then what we'll do is we'll come back out and we'll go after the really risky policy of trying to get you that $300,000 in coverage. And just like I said, if we get you approved for it, we're going to get rid of that safe policy. If we don't get you approved for it, no big deal, because we at least have the safe policy put in place. So with that being said, does this plan make sense to you? Yes or no? Okay, yeah. So that's where we're going to start. And so with that particular policy, and then boom, that's how I'm going to set you up.
I like it.
Okay. Any kind of like add-ons or anything that you would kind of think to like jump in there and intertwine a little bit or spin a little bit differently?
The biggest thing that I want everyone to take away from what John just did is he's teed it up with a third-party story in the beginning. That's the whole deal right there. If you just go in and we're like, no, here you go, we're gonna actually do this first. Without this story, no one's gonna go for it. Okay, like it has to have a story, and I had a story too that I tell, and it's about a friend of mine who's in his 30s, and he did blood work on himself, and he was gonna get it was gonna be I can't remember how much the policy was for, but it was gonna be $100 a month. And then he was fit, he worked out all the time, whatever. He did the blood work and it came back as a standard table C for high cholesterol. And his price for the exact same thing went from $100 to $300 for the same thing. And now it's like stamped all over. It's like almost like your credit report for your health. And every carrier can see that. And that's it. It's a done freaking deal. So I never do blood work first. I always do simplified issue, John, just like you. And then what happens is we'll get that in place. And then, you know, we can always wrap around and do the fancy footwork later, but they're looking for reasons to charge you more money. It's not the same like exam as your doctor's office. Okay. They want to find something wrong so they can up your premium. That's so yeah, that's what I
Yes,
where I go with that.
So yeah, you're 100% spot on. So the idea is really just to try to scare them out of doing blood work. Realistically, I know that sounds crazy, and some people can say, well, you know, you're ripping them off and you're not getting them the best price possible. That's BS. Because I'll tell you what, you can't, it is impossible for you to have a 95% issue rate or net placement rate with doing blood work. It's impossible. You can't do it. Over 50% of the policies either come back altered or declined when you're doing blood work. So that means that you have it like you're not going to help out almost 50% of the families that you sit with. Where on the simplified side, you can help out 95 to 100% of the families that you sit with every single time. So let's just scare them. Let's go out there and find a story where you can scare them out of doing blood work, because we do not want them doing blood work at all by any stretch of the imagination. And so if you can kind of tee it up that way to scare them away from ultimately what they want, get them something safe and secure, and then come back out. I can't tell you how many policies I've written and they have gotten declined. They're like, John, it's okay. But here's what happens a majority of the time is that after we get them approved, I kind of make that follow-up phone call. All right, you ready to go after that risky one? A lot of the people are like, no, what we have in place is just perfectly fine, because we scared them so far away from doing blood work. And also, guess what's going to happen is that when an agent comes in behind you and tries to replace that business, what do you think is going to be on the front of their mind? That price is probably that blood work. I'm good. I'm sticking with my agent, John. I'm sticking with my agent, Miranda. So there's so many benefits to really kind of getting the fear of them doing blood work out in front of it. And you can't always get what you want.
And if you're watching this and you are at a company where all you have is blood work, let us know, because we have access to ones that have no blood work, and there you go. So
yeah, and again, that kind of goes the same thing for like captive agents, right?
Yeah.
Like I have, I have a buddy that's I won't say what insurance company is, but one of the big colorful ones that he sends me business all the time. Used to send me business all the time, kind of when he was in the field doing it. He's like, look, couldn't get them approved. They're diagnosed with diabetes after the age of 50. I couldn't help them. Diagnosed with diabetes before the age of 35, couldn't help them. And it's like, boom, we can help them, 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 we can help them. So that is definitely the advantage or benefit of having access to multiple different carriers too. So spot on there, Miranda Martin. Hey, what are they supposed to do? Click,
Click,
like,
click
subscribe.
like, subscribe, comment below. I
What do
actually had someone say the other day, they're like, I was doing a call for an agency and they're like, I'm watching your podcast and it doesn't suck, just so you know. And I was like, awesome.
Nice.
Well, if it did, like,
Thank you
well,
so much. I know I was on a call too. I think it was like yesterday, today. And I was jumping in and like kind of co-hosting that someone asked me to hop in. They're like, oh my God, don't suck at sales. It's so good. And I'm like, yes, thank you so much for the support. We really do appreciate it.
yeah,
So don't suck, y'all.
don't suck. Hashtag don't suck at sales.
Bye, y'all. Thanks, guys.
And if you are sucking at something, let us know in the comments so that we can consider doing it for an episode.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
We would appreciate that.
Peace.
Bye, y'all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Show me some. Show me some. Show me some. Show me some. Show me some.